We good? Good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate you all being here. It's exciting to get going. I think every team in the country, there's a point where you just want to go play and kind of see where you're at, and I don't think we're anything different. As usual, I give update of any injuries. Right now, Morgan Stewart's just the one right now that he's probably doubtful for this game. It's a hip injury, and I don't really have any more information on that yet, and we'll see where that goes. South Dakota State, I think, is a very good football team, a great program. John has been there, I think, 17, 18 years, just very well respected in how he coaches and what he does and the consistency of his winning. So they won 9 games a year ago. They made 2 rounds into the playoffs, and so I expect to see a very good football team. They're a great quarterback, receiver. Just very well, like I mentioned before, well coached, and so there'll be a real good football team coming in Saturday. As far as our team right now, this is our first day of school. I think this is like maybe the first time in 5 or 6 years where we actually we have game week on the first day of school, and that's generally start a week earlier, so that's not really the ideal thing that you want to have as a coach, but that's kind of the way it's been handed to us, and that's the way we're handling it with our players. It's just all about preparation now. You know, we're game week preparation, and the things that we do is critically important in our program. The mental side of competition, you know, we spend time in August, and certainly the players with experience on why we prepare the way we do, and we have a plan for how we do it, and it works if the players put the effort into it, and I expect them to do that. Just a rundown on freshmen that'll be playing this year. Ishwitter, tailback, he'll be playing. He had a good camp, and we're excited about him. Lawrence Lee and Nate Brown, both wide receivers, will be playing this year as true freshmen. Logan Cheadle, Logan came in early, came in winter, and he's a third corner, but will certainly play. We're excited about him. And then Thomas Wilson playing safety, and he'd be like our backup nickel. Singleton would be the starting nickel, and he'd be the backup nickel right now. Really good young player. All of them are good young players. One of the better classes we've ever had. I mean, you know, it's kind of exciting. You know, Pat Ivey's excited about getting all those guys in there, because what they'll do, the players are redshirt, and obviously they'll work on fundamentals and their role. And everybody's got their role in this time of year. Will help our team get better. But the other role they have is to get stronger and faster and quicker, and to get those guys going. We use an in-season weightlifting program for all our players at redshirt, meaning we don't lift twice a week, we lift 3 times a week, and the lifting is much more intense. So that's really important, you know, for them, because it's important for us when we get to spring football next year. But very, very excited about the class that we have. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at, and looking forward to getting playing.
As far as the other freshmen, I mean, I know sometimes you go a few weeks into the season. Are there other guys you're still considering, or is that pretty much barring injury?
Well, barring injury, I mean, anything would happen next couple weeks. I mean, that could adjust a little bit there, but this, you know, it's interesting. Some years, you know, the quality of these guys, you know, some years you might be able to play 10 of these freshmen. It just kind of depends what your depth is and kind of where you're at. And all the other thing you want to do is you want to make sure you protect your players a little bit. We have a lot of players who are good enough to, I think, play, get game experience in terms of playing, helping us in the special teams and so on. But if they're not getting coached, let's say they're the third linebacker, and they don't get it, you know, they could be on special teams all they want, but they're probably not going to be up unless of an injury. They're not going to be up with Steck and getting coached every single day at playing our linebacker. Then we really have to sit back and say, what's the best interest of him, and what's the best interest of his future and our future with him. And so, you know, again, we talk about these things all the time, but we've got a real good class, excited about it, and you know, everybody's going to have their role.
Is Kenya Dennis still part of the backup nickelback mix too, or is it he mostly out of corner?
Yeah, we're going to keep Dennis Kenya at a corner. We said, is he part of the nickel? That's the question. Was he part of the nickel back too? No, what we decided to do is put Thomas in there as backup behind Singleton, and then keep him out just in the perimeter and corner, because he's playing a real good corner out there also. And, you know, you also know that we have nickel packages, dime packages, and things like that, and that kind of allows us to do a lot of things. He's done a really, really good job.
Is there any more update now? School starting on take on Ross?
No, we still hope to get him. So we'll see what happens. They're all academic situations, and ones that we anticipated for the most part. And so, we'll see where it goes. Hopefully, that can still happen. Obviously, there'll be a point where it can't, but we're still hoping. One's an appeal process, another one's just taking care of some business.
Through the offseason for camp, how have you seen Maddie mature and grow into his role?
Well, I think he's done a really good job with his role. Talking about Matty's role, how he's grown and matured into it, and I think he's really done a good job. He's a very natural leader. He's very an unthreatening leader. Players like him. He's not a guy that just kind of and he's got a great work ethic. He works real hard. I think that's the most important as a leader. And then obviously it's a position where you got to produce. But there's no question about our players believe in him. I believe in him, and he's just got to understand that that he's got a lot of people around that can help him do well too, and he doesn't have to do everything.
What was it about Lawrence and Nate that you felt like they could help you guys this year?
Well, actually, the other two did a great job too. It's just a matter of who we think's ready now. I mean, it's just there's a degree of maturity, and saying one's mature over another is not really right. But we have to look at a competitive situation. Who right now we think can put themselves in position to go out and play wide receiver, not just on special teams. Get out and play and get some reps at wide receiver, and through working the rest of the summer can get up a little bit better. Those other couple guys I think are going to be great players too. Really good group, but we just decided on those two, and we really didn't want to go to three because we wanted, as I mentioned, we wanted to protect them. But so, Lawrence and Nate, they came out on top of those guys. But down the road, who knows who will be the best?
A few concerns about the wide receiver group, and obviously you got some guys who caught some balls last year. But is Matty the kind of guy who can elevate the play of that group overall? You think?
I think you work together. In the passing game, we examine why things work and why they don't work. There's a lot of things that happen in the passing game. You look at protection, you look at assignment of protection, you look at technique of protection, you look at is the sack potential. Is the quarterback getting rid of the football? Is he running for his life? I mean, all those things have a big effect on your passing game. The quarterback, his reads, his ability to throw accurately, that's a hugely important part there. And then the receiver part is, to be in the right place at the right time. We do a lot of adjustment with routes on the fly with our receivers, and so that's a little more difficult than to go down and run 14 yards and turn in. And so running the right route, be at the right spot, and catch the football. And so there's all these components to throwing a completion. And what we do a pretty good job of analyzing what our breakdowns are and what we need to do, and we just need to keep working hard at it, and if we keep working hard and being positive, we'll do some good things, I think. Well, I think they were really Corbin and Eddie were very, very competitive. I mean, it was very competitive throughout the entire summer. And there's a point where at the last 3 or 4 practices, last scrimmage, where Eddie played a little bit better, and ultimately you base it over everything. And they're very close, but we made that decision to go that way. And he's playing really well. His accuracy, his delivery, those type of things, be able to get rid of the football. One thing about when you're the backup quarterback, you have to learn how to get rid of the ball a lot. It's one thing, against our starting defense, which I guess is good. Anyway, Corbin's got to be ready to go too. You never know what's going to happen, and you have to make those decisions, and we felt we made the right one for the team.
Do you think it'll become a week-to-week deal on how you use Marcus Murphy?
Yeah, this is about Marcus Murphy and how we would use Marcus Murphy, and there's going to be a lot. It's going to be what Morgan's situation is. When Morgan's healthy in there, it just changes everything. He's bringing Ish along, that kind of thing. So we're going to have to look at that. I mean, I think if you play 75 plays, you want him playing 50 plays for sure in a game. I don't think you want to play 75 with him. But he looks as good a wide receiver as he does as running back. That's a nice thing about it. But it's your depth at running back where you're at there. If you can't overrun the other guys that are in there. And so there's just certainly some things that we're looking at and analyzing, and it probably is going to be a week-to-week thing. A lot of it probably depend upon the health that we have at the tailback position.
On the backup quarterback, you used a different seasons with Matty being a young guy. I mean, do you have plans to work Eddie in on a regular basis?
We haven't decided that till Thursday. Most likely, a redshirt, a freshman like Eddie right now, chances are I don't think we'll rotate him earlier. You know, we'll know on Thursday. We'll discuss it as a staff. We do all, as you well know, if you've been around here, we do all our substitution analysis at that time. We certainly talk about it a little bit before, so that when we get to Thursday, at least we've had some good discussion on it over a few weeks of period of time. But it remains to be seen. It'd be nice to be able to get him in the game, let him play. So we'll see what happens. He practiced really well yesterday. Jimmy Hunt, yeah, I mean, he looked really well, you know. So coming off those hamstrings, you're just, you know, Rex, our Sharp, our trainer, does a great job. You know, he has to analyze that, and you know, you generally keep him out a little bit longer, but I think he'll be 100%.
As that long streak of forcing turnovers in games, anything in particular you work on that makes you good in that area?
I wish you wouldn't have brought that up, but it said we have a long streak of forcing turnovers in games. I really hadn't thought about it until you said that. So, no, I just hope it continues. You know, every year you work tremendously hard to get turnover on your side of the table, because it directly, there's no stat, as I mentioned often, and you all know that can help you win games more than getting that in your favor. You work on it hard every year. I think a lot of times you get momentum. I think if you're a physical team, I think you have a chance to create it more. We were a very physical team a year ago. You have to protect it on offense so that you get the edge in numbers. There's some years we worked so hard on it, we ended up 40th in the nation in turnover margin. And you know, last year we worked hard at it, we were top 10. So it's we've been working real hard. I think we're a physical football team. You know, in this league you have to be. But I think we hit well, and so hopefully that'll help us also.
The defensive line received a lot of accolades last year. You have 3 seniors and a junior playing back. How important is that experience that they all got in the past several years?
I think that's kind of the way our football team is. You know, we lost a lot of starters, but we have a lot of guys that played a lot, you know, last year. And I mean, significant amount where they played almost half. They didn't start, but maybe they played 35, 40 snaps a game. And our defensive line is certainly one of that areas also. I think our defensive line seems to be strong. You know, those 2 young freshman defensive ends, they're going to have to contribute so we can keep guys in there and keep them fresh. But I think that you know, we can be really good up front. Craig Kuligowski's done an exceptional job, as all our coaches do. But certainly, you know, we've had great success there. So, you know, hopefully we'll see that experience, you know, show up here.
With Harold Bramley being listed as a worst starter at tackle, is that something where Matt's still coming back from that injury, or is it something where Harold's kind of working himself into that?
I just think it's very positive. You know, with Lucas Vincent had the best he's ever looked was the last 3 weeks since he's been here. So I just think Harold's doing exceptionally well, and Matt has not, and nothing against, you know, certainly his desires, but you know, he had, you know, some issues, you know, health-wise, and so really that just says that, hey, we look at all 3 of those guys as starters, and that's a plus and that's a positive. So Matt's doing real well, and you know, we'll see where it goes. You'll see them all play. We play a lot of guys up front, you know that.
Matt and Josh Augusta, the depth at defensive tackle, do you feel like that's as good as you've had?
It's pretty good. You know, I want to see it on the field. We're talking about the depth of defensive tackle. Josh Augusta also. Josh has come a long way. You know, from being a sophomore, playing last year as a freshman, matured in many ways. So we have, you know, we got some depth there, and now you want to see it play well. You know, that's you play itself out, and that's ultimately, you know, what hopefully can happen.
You mentioned wanting to be physical, and obviously Andrew Wilson was a guy who brought a lot of that physical mentality in the middle of that defense. Do you see that from Michael Shear, and what's his ceiling, so to speak? Can he be that kind of presence you need?
Well, Control brothers also, Donovan. So not just one guy. I mean, we got some guys who hit well. Andrew Wilson was a great hitter. We know that, and you know, but we got a lot of guys who can hit. I think we're physical. You were out some of the scrimmages. You know, I was a little concerned about our offense a few times, to be honest with you. But you know, you got to play that way. You know, you got to play that way week in, week out. And you got to stay healthy doing it. So, you know, we'll know a lot more about our team, you know, come Saturday, 5 o'clock.
You've got some new guys on your offensive line, a couple other guys that have played but are in new positions. How are they, Joe?
Well, I think they're doing well. You know, I think that you know, Mitch Hall's really come around. Anthony Gotti, you know, those are the new starters. Collins out a different place, different spot, but for the most part, Mitch is playing on the other side. Still the continuity I'm playing. It'd be really nice to stay healthy in offensive line, so you can just keep getting better. Our whole team, you just get a lot better. If you can stay healthy, the continuity gets better, and you gain confidence working together, playing with the guy next to you on both sides. Especially at that position where the communication's so critical, and it's such a hard position to play because all the things that defenses do now. It's so different than it was 10 years ago, and further back. But I feel good about those guys, and it's getting backup players ready to play also. So we're working hard to do that, and because bottom line, if you have injuries, we know that you got to replace them.
How do you feel about your depth there on the line?
I think we're getting better. And I think that's encouraging.
With that, Coach, how have you seen Mitch Morris develop since he's been here on campus, especially since a couple of years ago when you kind of struggled at that center position?
Well, that was a tough year. He was not only at the center position, he was the guard position and tackle position. Other than that, we didn't ask very much of him. Talk about Mitch Morris and how he's developed. And last year he had a really good year. I mean, that you talk about being tough on your confidence. You're a sophomore and you're playing against different people. You have different snaps, and it was really a gut-wrenching experience for him. But one that he turned to. He had a choice to turn into something positive or to go the other way, and he turned into something positive. He had a great year last year. Now, I asked him the other day when he came in here. He's from Austin, Texas, a private school in Austin, Texas, and I think he said he weighed 253 when he walked on our campus. He's about 310 right now, and he's got his degree. He's getting his master's. He's a captain. He's a company man. One of those guys that got in here, yes sir, no sir, and just this is you just tell me what I need to do to help this team win. And so I'm really happy for him, and certainly want him. Being on the left side's a little bit different, but certainly I think he's excited about it. And we always, you always have to be able to move different linemen, different spots. You have to work on different things. Who's your third guard? Who's your third tackle? Who's your third center? All those things, and then get the appropriate work and move people around in practice a little bit. Everybody in the country does the same thing. So that's something that we have to do. There's much less substitution on offensive line just because the communication and the continuity you have to have. You say D-line, why do you run all those guys in and out of there all the time? Well, one, to keep them fresh, but the other thing is just a lot different, in defense, the gap you got to go to the gap. In offensive line, there's stuff going on all over the place, whether it's linebackers, corners, safeties, defensive ends, tackles, slanting, moving. And so you rarely see the substitution on offensive line that you do on defensive line just because of the continuity that you need to be able to communicate. Yeah, Murph. Yeah, we're just trying to be smart about what we do with them. So we'll kind of see. Murph will return punts, but I think that's just something week to week we're going to have to do. So he's looked so good out there, at running back and at receiver. And again, just as we talked about it before, it's going to be a week by week thing that we do. We would like to, make sure he's playing. If it's 75 plays, he's getting 50 plays on the field, and that's not counting kicking. So that's kind of, we're kind of about smart what we do. We're fortunate we have, I think, a lot of good return guys. Arian Penton also was a very good athlete, and some other guys. We have probably more than we've ever had in the program ever. I remember when I first got here, we had, maybe 2 guys that had a chance to catch punts. It was a long time ago. So we're very fortunate we have a lot of guys that are athletic, and we work on a lot of players daily at all those positions.
Did you put Tyler Hunt on scholarship? Can he kind of help in that rotation?
Yeah, Tyler's done a great job. He's in almost all the kicking. He can help our football team win. Yeah, we did put him on scholarship this past week, and he's done a really good job. And even if Morgan wouldn't have had an injury, we would still put him on because he was very worthy of that. And so he did a good job. To be able to put someone on scholarship, you have to have the aid available first. That's the first thing. And then you have to look at the entire team and who's deserving of it, so there's a degree of consistency of how and why you do things.
Michael was injured backup last year, but he was working some of the weak side before Pinkel had labor surgery. What did he show that made you guys feel comfortable leading at middle and keep Pinkel at weak side?
Well, a lot has to do with what stack just their body types a little bit and how they move and such. And honestly, all those guys know another position. Because if you get an injury or something, you go if you go to nickel or you go to dime, then all of a sudden those things change. So on those three are the three most athletic linebackers in a group we've ever had. I mean, by far. And there's a little bit of inexperience there. Michael, certainly has played a little bit more. But Donovan's really very talented too, athletically. So, you just try to fit for each spot. Where you think their movement, athleticism, can put you in the best position to win. But again, there's not a big difference between those three guys.
South Dakota State's running back, Zach Zender, he's had pretty huge games because the last two, his power five teams they played over the last 2 years. What have you seen out of him? Any comment on him? What makes him so good?
He's just a really good player. I mean, he's a hard runner and got great quickness. Like I said, the receiver, they got a couple of receivers, and one costs 875 or 80 balls. Their quarterback's a big 6'5", 230-pound guy. He does a great job. That's why they win so many games. So, it's going to be important always to tackle. Tackling is so hugely important. And that guy breaks a lot of tackles, so we'll see what happens.
Worried at all about the offense? It didn't look sharp, especially the last two scrimmages. How much of a concern is that now?
Well, last scrimmage, our running game looked real sharp. So I felt real good about that. So there's a lot more to it than just, did you throw a completion or not. I'm concerned about everything. So, first games are first games. I've been doing this a long time. So the good news is I feel the same way as I did, 30 years ago.
Any concern about overlooking this team?
Well, hopefully, I think, we're not good enough to overlook anybody, number one. Number two is you find out about your team. You find out about is this a team that's going to focus on ourselves. And this is about how we play. It's not about who we play. And I think I don't care who's on our schedule. You can point to anybody. It's not how they play or who we're playing. It's about how we play. And anybody on our schedule you can point out. And if you're that kind of team, I think a lot of good things can happen. Adjusting, man, it's amazing. Vince Lombardi, fatigue makes cowards of us all. It's true. I mean, I don't care how tough you are, mentally tough you are. If you haven't been through the environment, it's difficult. You're struggling. It's just remarkable to see. Saturday morning was real hot out there on the field. I think it was about 115 on the field when we were done. Finishing up around 10 o'clock. And our players struggled because they hadn't been in it all summer. And when they worked out this summer, most of their workouts, except some throwing on Tuesday and Thursday evenings, they were working out in the mornings, which we kind of consistently do. The reason we do it is because it's so hot. They'll be in the heat so much, and for those reasons. So I'm glad we got the heat. We were out it last night. We'll get out the next couple days. We'll decide whether we're going to practice inside or on the grass and where we're at. And I'm really happy we've had it because it's something you have to. Normally, we have so much heat that you just kind of want to get over with it. Hey, we're tough enough to handle it. It's just wearing us out right now. So it's very important that we got that, especially when you have no idea, really. You have an idea a little bit of this coming Saturday. But what gets you on that field turf is that sun radiation. I mean, it's amazingly different than going out there at 6 o'clock at night. So we got 3 games in the afternoon, all on field turf. And we've got to play our best. So it's been good. And the more opportunities you get on it, the better you get at handling it.
Time for a couple more.
No, we're mentally tougher than that.
Last one, please.
Would you consider being a known to this team what you perceive as the value of teaching of the season? How do you balance on
The question is kind of how do you figure out your team, really, basically, about are they ready or do they like last year's? Every team's different. You might want every team to be the same, everything to turn out that way, but it's not. That doesn't happen. The chemistry of the team changes. All those seniors leave, and then the new seniors in our program. That's how we do it here. And certainly we have some juniors and sophomores, real good leaders, but our seniors kind of run things when they become seniors. We developed that years ago when we got here. So in meeting at the end of January, I have with all the juniors that will be seniors next year. Now it's your team here. Okay, let's talk about it. What are we going to do? What do we need to get done? What did we learn from last year that made us a good team? What are the lessons that we learned from the year before? Those kind of things. And the biggest thing they all can do is lead by example. But you really don't know. You don't know what you got. I feel very good about this team. but I also, you know, I'm paid to be concerned. So, and I'm always concerned. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, you bet. You bet. Dave, you're gonna ask something? Or? No, I mean, as I said, even at the SEC meetings when they asked me about Dorio, I said,